of you who has seen this live, who has encouraged us, and who you all have been our cheerleaders. So Feb is the month of love, or should I say self-love? And choosing to heal, according to me, is one of the forms of self-love. Healing for me is just like, taking bath. You take physical bath every day to clean up your body. And unfortunately, maybe there was not a structured education in the schools for the mental bath or the emotional bath, which should be taken. However, we are fortunate enough to having witnessed this complete shift where people are now getting into the psychology, or I would say the therapy is getting normalized, or the healing is getting normalized. And this shift is something phenomenal. So taking daily mental bath and emotional bath is becoming important, and people are understanding the importance of that. And so today our author has done exactly that, the healing part. And as I say, you don't write the book writes you. And today's author, Algira, has rewritten herself while writing her novel, 7 Shades of Healing, which I have the copy with me. So that's her book, 7 Shades of Healing. And what do I talk about Algira? In one word, if you ask me, I call her the angel of actions, who can smash procrastination. So the angel of action who can smash procrastination, she owns her crown through introspection, and she paints her grace with self-motivation. One lesson, if you ask me as a book coach, what I learned from her, any guesses? For me, it was how to make the best use of time and how to never complain about not having time. And in fact, rather than not having the time, rather than that, making the time for the things which really matter to you. And if Algira, I can summarize her writing journey in that was about that. Not just finding time, but making time for that. Her book is a must read for all those who seek to heal and also believe in the concept of planting a seed so that later on they become the tree and they can provide the shadow to the whole world, the comfort to the whole world. And today, in the month of Feb, I'm welcoming one such sturdy tree in human form, Algira. And welcome, Algira, here on board. I'm so glad and honored to have you here. And congratulations, although you have got so many congratulations from me for your book, 7 Shades of Healing. However, this is an official congratulations on YouTube. So welcome to Author series.
Thank you so much, Heena, for such a lovely introduction. And I must say, first of all, thank you so much for having me over here. And this is an amazing community to discuss and to learn from. And I'm super excited to get myself interviewed from you because you have interviewed such genuine souls as well as such genuine authors who are highly experienced, who have a lot of knowledge, and who are never lost for words. But I'm just new and toddler in this field, and I feel really excited as well as overwhelmed to be over here. I really like the poetry that you just mentioned about me. It is such a rhyming and beautiful poetry that you have done. Thank you. Thank you once again for your congratulations as well.
Most welcome. And I guess the poetry would not be suffice. I wanted to write a long one, but then I thought that maybe I will keep it to some of my book where I'll be sharing my experiences as a book coach.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
Wonderful. Okay, so meanwhile, I start my questions to Algira about her writing journey and how she has got rewritten while writing this book. You are free to share your questions, your insights on the YouTube chat, and I'll keep an eye over there. And in between, or maybe at the end of my questions, I will be picking up your questions also for Algira. So, Algira, let's begin with what does your name mean before even we go to your book?
Yes, to be honest, I was really not aware about the meaning of my name. And till I finished my graduation, I was not even aware that someone has to have a meaning to their name. once I started working in my first job back in 2008, I was pestered with this question like, what is the meaning of your name? What is the meaning? Everyone used to ask me in Bangalore. And I used to always say, I don't know. And nobody used to buy it. So once one of my bosses, he said, "Let me find it out for you," and he came back with the meaning as Algira is the name of the sweet prepared in Jordan. It's made out of camel milk. Like in India, we have this sweet prepared out of cow milk, the first milk. Similarly, they have something like this in Jordan, and it's a camel sweet, camel milk sweet. So yes, and I live with it from that day on.
Wow. Wow. That's a very beautiful, touch to your name. That's very unique, actually. Very beautiful. And it is sweet, just like you.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, Algira, not everybody who will be watching or is watching this live has read your book. So, how about, talking a little bit about your book before we move forward to further your writing journey?
I always wanted to write something about me, and I didn't know whether I would write it as a short story or an essay or just a poetry. Poetries used to just happen to me when I was when throughout my life, and I used to write short stories when I was in school, and my mom used to be the first reader of everything that I used to write. And my mom was always worried about me till now. So I was not able to explain to her that I am fine. And writing is one particular way that I can express myself better. Hence, I got into writing a book because till the time I write this 7 Shades of Healing, I never thought I would write a book. So this book writing was that reason that will help my mother to understand that I am okay.
Wow. Wow. That's a very beautiful, I would say very tender yet beautiful and yet very strong reason for someone to, go about that, because ultimately it all boils down to emotions, or it boils down to the people we care for, and what can be a better why rather than this. That's a very, very beautiful one. In fact, I maybe you have shared, but this part is something very new to me. So, very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Most welcome. And so, Algira, let's talk about the book title. How did you come up with this book title? I know the story, but let's share it with the world.
Yes, this is very interesting for me. Initially, I had something different in my mind as a book title, and I had shared it with you as well. And I basically wanted to write a book regarding healing, and it must be something positive. However, the title was not that positive. So we discussed about it, we brainstormed, and apparently we came up with this healing rainbow, and we wanted to incorporate healing and rainbow into the title.
Yeah.
And when we were doing brainstorm on this, since rainbow has 7 colors, so that's when the healing journey of mine is related to the 7 colors of the rainbow. Hence, it is 7 Shades of Healing. And I'm really thankful to you as well for guiding me to navigate through so that we finalized this name. So, hence, it became 7 Shades of Healing.
Wow, that's so wonderful, so beautiful. And in fact, if you're okay with that, let's talk about the previous name, not in terms of whether something was right or wrong, but in terms of how every word plays or maybe manifests as a reality in your life. And that was the reason that I suggested that, let's not go ahead with that. So are you okay sharing like what was the previous name? And then, let's add that perspective for the audience also to maybe on their further projects, they can connect the dots similarly, regardless of whether they are coming to me or not. But that's a kind of takeaway, which can be a very wonderful one for each one of them.
Yes, absolutely. So, what I believed is that whatever we think, it takes a form of a cancer. So apparently what I wanted to show through my book is whatever we think is what you are made up of. And hence I had decided to keep the title as Cancer That Healed Me. So cancer in itself was becoming a absolutely negative term. Hence, when you enlightened me on this particular term, how it will further manifest into and how it will affect my life as well. Considering that it is about healing and considering what we are going to manifest by writing, because we as authors believe a lot in word and that's what we manifest further. So, hence, I agreed to it. And trust me, when I dropped this name, Cancer That Healed Me, the second part of this book, as in like Seven Shades of Healing, happened naturally because first I decided the title and then the stories and the chapters were coming up. When I was doing Cancer That Healed Me, I was not even able to start. I was not even able to know where to start from. But as soon as we changed the name, the rest of the book happened automatically.
Wow, that's very powerful. So what I learned over the period of time, especially after doing NLP, and one of the incidents was really always it stick to me. It stuck to me forever, like a lesson that the words you use become your reality. And those who hail from quantum physics, those who understand law of attraction, or those who know the grammar of manifestation, uh, it's very easy to understand. However, I will just elaborate with an example where we learned it in NLP, where there was one lady who used to say always that my boss is a pain in my neck. My boss is a pain in my neck. My boss is a pain in my neck. And whenever she used to complain about her boss, that was the normal line for her. However, with time, she realized that she actually started having pain in her neck because she was repeating this. And since our subconscious doesn't understand the difference between what is real and what is not, it just listens to what we say and follows that and manifests that as a reality. And her words itself became her own prison. So our mentor says this, that your sentences become your sentences. So keeping that in mind, he once told me that, you should be very careful about keeping titles of your book. And they also do the same because they are your creation. And what words you're bringing up in this world comes back to you. And I looked at my own journey as a case study that, let me connect the dots. And each title of my own 4 books manifested the same thing the title brought up. So the first one was The Talking Stories, a collection of short stories. And after that, actually, my career started talking regarding writing. So it was somewhere connecting the dots. After that, the second book was about I in life, which is introspection and inspiration. And the same thing, although I did not know the science behind that, thankfully, I used all the positive words and they got manifested accordingly. And I saw that there was a lot of introspection which happened after my second book. And third one was the other side of fairy tales. And literally a fairy tale broke for me. And that was after the book came, within 6 months of that, my dad left me. So a beautiful fairy tale also got broken because that was the other side of fairy tale. I had to accept the reality. So and the fourth one was writer's code. And after that, whatever I've been doing in writing has thankfully skyrocketed. So that is the positive connotation which I could think of. We also connected the dots where we knew the author's personal life, because without you not knowing their personal lives, you don't know how the thing has manifested in their lives. So there also we could connect the dots. And same thing I told to Algira. And apart from this reason that your words create your reality, another reason was that the word cancer itself was giving an idea about, maybe it is about cancer, maybe her journey of the cancer as a disease getting healed. So I asked her once that, is it somewhere like that? And then she said, no, there is no story about the disease cancer. And that was another reason that, the audience also might get misled because of that. The people may think that, it's a cancer recovery story. So these were the 2 reasons that we thought of changing the names, and rest all became the history written in the golden words.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, Algira. So you have already talked about what inspired you to write, as you said that you wanted to tell to your mother, which was a very emotionally driven reason. So I would ask you, what apart from that kept you going And what is your biggest motivation in writing? Because often at times what I have observed that, we start with a lot of zeal, including me. And what happens on the way is life keeps on happening, and somewhere, sometimes, your project starts gathering dust. So how did you manage that? What kept you going?
So let me start with your second question. It's about the motivation. Many of us we fail to express and we don't know what to say. We are short of words, and a lot of people they just keep it within themselves. And I wanted to express it all this while. When I was a child, I used to write and express, and all this while after graduation, because of the lifestyle and everything, I had forgotten. And I realized it now that I had done a biggest mistake by stopping it. I restarted. So basically, my motivation to write is to express myself. I can express better in writing than in action or than in otherwise physically. And with regards to your first question, what was the reason behind writing this particular book? Um, I feel there are many of us who are away from their home, living their life in solitude. They are away from their family. And even if you're living with the family, you still live a life of solitude in a different way. Um, so while living such a life, we don't know how to express ourselves, or we don't know what's going within ourselves, and we don't even know how to talk about it because we are always scared of judging, because we know that if I tell my friend will start teasing me, or if I tell somebody in the family, they will say, there's nothing like this, aisa waisa kuch nahi hota, you're overthinking. Or if even if you share it with your colleagues, you are afraid that they might take you for granted or even take your advantage. So I noticed that there is a lot of such particular people in the world who are going through the similar situation as I went through. And this book, Seven Shades of Healing, captures it perfectly. All the emotions down, what an individual goes through when they stay away from their family, or when they feel that they are alone, or when they don't want to accept that they are alone, but they are actually alone. So I'm not saying that it is depression, but it's something else. But when that something else you are not able to explain, this book, Seven Shades of Healing, has put it in words exactly how an individual want to express how and what we are going through emotionally. So that's what inspired me to write Seven Shades of Healing.
Wow, that's very powerful, and actually powerfully vulnerable, or I would say vulnerably powerful, that you sharing this part that, loneliness, I guess, rather than bigger than cancer, the loneliness has become a disease these days, especially with the screen time also, not just because, you're living far from family. People are alone despite living in the families also. Where that's and addressing that part, uh, that's very powerful way, or, it's kind of a very noble cause is what I would say. That, to bring, not just to accept that and bring up your story, and through that story giving that message to all. So that's absolutely a very powerful one for me. Okay, Algira, one thing which often keeps coming to me, I get different clients who write book. Some write it, you have seen, some have written it in 10 days also. Some take a year also. That's so not judging that part, but there are few who, as I said, get lost somewhere in the rat race of life, or, things keep on happening. And despite, coming and getting the flow and everything, sometimes they stop, or there are several reasons. There are sometimes personal reasons, but in short, if I become a rude teacher here, I would call them all excuses. So, what is that one thing which you would suggest to people, anybody, that may be a person who is writing their book in 10 days also, and that may be a person who is writing a book in a longer time, or is especially those who stop in between and they think that, I was not cut out for that. So how to beat that procrastination or a self-limiting belief, where you keep going for the writing despite writing sometimes being boring at times, despite writing being a lonely job, despite writing being the last thing which you would be doing because you have bills to pay. And how do you deal with that, and how have you dealt with that?
There are two ways when I look at this particular challenge, that's procrastination. First, you have to, there is this famous saying that you have, before quitting or before leaving something, you have to first realize why you started it. So similar thing applies over here. So when you start writing, you have to, when you think of stopping it, or when you think of procrastinating, you have to first think why you started it. And even if you're not able to write, there are some days when your mind doesn't help you to write. Even if you write one line, and the next day when you continue it from that one line, imagine if you have not written that one line, you would have not been able to complete that future paragraph or the story of that particular book. So that's what applies over here. So sometimes there are days when you write the whole paragraph or the whole one book, one lengthy page, and the next day when you read it, you feel that it's not right and you just trash it. So these there are days like this also, but then you have to think to yourself, if I would have not written that yesterday, today I would not be able to excel in what I had written yesterday. So it's this is how you motivate yourself. Like, if you were something yesterday, today you have to challenge yourself to be better. It's making yourself better and better every day, and by making yourself better every day, you will make your product better than what it was yesterday. So the same thing goes parallelly. And with regards to the second situation, I've written this in my book as well, that the day when you feel like not doing it is the day actually you're supposed to do it. And believe me, that is the day you will do the best shot. I think this applies everywhere. There are days when you feel really lazy. Again, another word for procrastination, and you're not in a mood to do it. But when you actually open your book and start writing, that is the day when you are more relaxed, to be honest, and you will be able to write better and hence provide better product. This has personally helped me, and this has happened to me, and hence I'm able to speak about it.
Wow, that's very powerful, because I remember the times that it was for you, despite having a job, you used to update me, this is done, this is done, this is done, and I was like, this girl is a rocket or what? Experience I had with Annie Paul also. Annie also is like, this is done, this. I was like, is it about the place where these guys are working? Something is in the air, or I don't know what is there in the water there. कि वहाँ का पानी पीने वाले सारे एकदम go getters है or something like that. But then I realized that it's about the kind of mindset you guys share as in maybe again it might be in the air that how to come back, bounce back, and you accept that that's fine if there was a less work, and there are days where I won't be working, that is also fine, but you define your own consistency. And yesterday only in my cutting edge accountability program, I talked about this same concept of consistency, that consistency is not about always feeling that glass is always full. It's about accepting that glass will be half for some days. It might be 3/4 some days, it might be 1/4 some days. All what matters is putting just one drop inside the glass every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was very beautiful, and I was super inspired looking at the kind of dedication you had, and hats off to you for that. In fact, I would suggest you, whether anytime in future if you want to take up coaching or any workshop, do take one on consistency.
I'll think about this on the serious note.
Yeah, absolutely. People are like, it has become that, it has become a part of like in the attention economy. If you think about that, that's the best tool to have. And if
Yeah.
it's train people on that, nothing like it. They will be ready to be there in your program. So if that into my mind, my whole program of cutting edge accountability is about that, to ensure the accountability and to train them to be consistent by taking the responsibility. So that's a wonderful concept you can tap into. Wow, we got an idea for you.
Yes, yes. So I'll be seriously thinking about it.
Wonderful, marvelous. Okay, so that brings me to the closure kind of. I got a request on my WhatsApp and I couldn't see whom, so I will check that later. But yes, the question was somewhere about what was your biggest challenge in your writing journey and how did you cope with that?
My biggest challenge was, as I mentioned earlier, there were days when the story was not moving forward, and I was totally paused, and there was a time of like a week where I was not able to move, and as in like it was not happening. I used to write one line, stop it. The next day, I used to try to move forward, but one, two words, and then it was just not happening. And then I took a break from writing and I started reading. Again, reading helps a lot when you write. And I learned it from you that if you start reading, that's when you get more ideas and you will be able to do the characterization better. That's where I am weak, as I understand. So I started reading more. Earlier I used to read but less. But when I was feeling not able to move forward with my story, I started reading more and I started noting down some of the points that I learned from those books. And that's how I try to cope up with my challenge. When I'm not able to do something which I wanted to do in writing, I seek help from those other authors or those fellow group members that they can provide some enlightenment. If not fully, at least to 1% extent, that helps a lot.
That's very wonderful way to approach that. And yes, so it's about accepting that not all days, just like you have your bad hair days, you will be having
Yes.
your bad writing days also. And accepting that brings a lot of ease, comfort, and relaxes you. And I think relaxation is the most important part in your journey of creativity, whether it is about writing or any other pursuit which is related to art. Till the time you're not relaxed, ideas will not flow, and you will not get into that so-called flow which you're looking for. All you need to be is to just get relaxed without worrying about past, future, or whatsoever.
Yes.
Yes. So time for a quick round of rapid fire, I personally call it. And so those who are aware, I'm just reiterating what the game is about. It is this or that, where I would be talking about two options, and Algira has to choose one of that. So eating or sleeping, so she has to choose one and stuff like that. Okay. So if you have any options which you want to ask Algira, you can surely put in the chat box of YouTube, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, Algira, ready?
Ready? Yes.
Okay, so here we begin. Writing or reading? Choose one.
Writing.
Okay. Traveling or writing?
Writing.
Okay, wow, interesting. Writing a love story or writing a suspense novel?
Love story.
Wonderful. Writing a fiction or a non-fiction?
Fiction.
Interesting. Exercising versus yoga, which would you choose?
Yoga.
Okay. And yoga or meditation?
Meditation.
Oh, wow, wonderful. And last one is Writernaama or Heena?
So you put me in the soup now.
That's always a tricky one.
Writernaama.
Wonderful, great. Awesome. So this was about Algira. Let me check the YouTube chat. Yeah. As of now, we don't have anything, but I'm sure the comments are going to come later. And thank you so much to each one of you for watching us live. And thank you so much for being here, and we've always enjoyed your presence. And special thanks to Algira for taking out time in her busy schedule. Although Sunday is not busy but for people like her, she will always find something to do. So that's why. Special thanks to her. And thank you, Algira, especially because talking about you being the vulnerable person, not just in the book, but also here in the live. And special thanks to you for that, because being an author is one thing, and being vulnerable about your fears, your insecurities is something else. And that's actually what I think is very authentic and very powerful. So thank you so much for that and your valuable presence over here. And we'll soon do something else together. And to everyone here who is watching us live or will be watching the video later, thank you to each one of you. We'll be soon meeting with another author very soon.
Thank you, Heena, and I thank all the audience also for being a part of this.
Thank you so much, and bye-bye.